This hour, most of the mining companies that receive supply of explosives from Maxim may have to cut production if actions to get Maxim to resume operations is not fast-tracked. Maxim was shut down last week after orders from the Minerals Commission. This was due to the explosion at Apiache in the Bogoso area of the Western region, in which a vehicle belonging to the company and carrying explosives sparked, claiming about 13 lives and wiping out an entire community. Speaking exclusively to Joy Business, the chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Ikoni, says the country will lose a lot if Maxim is not assisted to resume operations.
Explosives we know are quite hazardous in the required combinations and in the conditions. It can be quite hazardous, and that is why legislation around transportation, handling, management, storage of explosives are quite, strict in legislation. Working, for example, with the police, and this is enshrined in legislation that even when it comes to transportation, because sometimes and oftentimes I must say, you don't have a choice about how to transport explosives. You may necessarily have to use public roads, but how do you do it such that even if anything untoward happens, you minimize the impact on life and limb as well as the environment. So continuous process, continuous improvement is the watchword. Let's learn the lessons and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Talking about impacts, immediately government went in to close down the logistics company. Moving forward, I understand it supplies about 40% of the mines. I don't know what the statistics says and also the impact on the industry as a whole moving forward, because we don't know when government will lift that ban.
Yeah, my calculation shows less than that though, but it's quite substantial. Between 25 and 30% of the market is what Maxim actually supplies, which is huge. And trust me, most of the companies, the company suppliers are on the edge as we speak. They don't have adequate stock. Most of them leave effectively just-in-time delivery, maximum a day or two stock at a time. So in terms of production, because without explosives, you cannot blast, you cannot mine. We all know it's a straightforward thing. So it's one of the challenges we certainly would be confronted with, and it will affect government as well. Of course, once it affects production, then the downstream benefit of mining, which we all talk about, whether it is forex generation, whether it is employment, whether it is the payment of taxes and royalties and so on. And the thing about royalty, for example, is that it is so direct that you all know the formula is that it's a kind of ad valorem on production of minerals. So you don't produce, you don't get your revenue. It's as simple as that. So we are not therefore asking that when government should actually willy-nilly open and lift the ban for the mining explosive manufacturing firm, in this case Maxim, to start production. We want to be assured that Maxim starts on the right footing.
That will make any interventions?
Well, we have made interventions with government, with regulators, and because we have a good relationship with the sector ministry and the key regulator Minerals Commission, we continue to engage. We made an appeal for the investigations to be expedited, of course, making sure that it is professionally done, and then hopefully we are hopeful that ultimately, within the shortest possible time, Maxim will be allowed to reopen and start doing its business. And we would quite be pleased if this happens within the shortest possible time. I think that for us is the watchword. Yes, we want to come back into full production, but we want to be assured that everything is okay. We don't have issues with production. We don't have issues with other aspects of the production and manufacturing of explosives. So it's about working together with the regulator and our sector ministry to ensure that this thing is expedited.
Approximately, in monetary terms, how much are we likely to lose if this goes on for at least a week?
Back of the envelope calculation we did yesterday, I think it comes to about $1.75 million per week. That's just by way of mineral royalty.
For a week?
For a week, yes, for a week. If these companies they run out of explosives and they can't get alternative supply and everything grinds to a halt, then that is the impact.
But this is just for royalties. We've not come to taxes. We've not come to pay.
Not that exactly. So we are talking millions of dollars. And I'm sure the Sector Ministry, Minerals Commission is also aware. So all of us jointly are working around the clock for this to be resolved quickly. When you have a catastrophe like this, it stands to reason that there would be challenges with the system. And one of the challenges we would have is to say, stop work and let's make sure that everything is right before you guys allow you to continue. So that's the phase we're actually going through. And we just plead that we expedite action with the investigations. We know that the Honorable Minister has received a preliminary report. We're not too sure how conclusive it is, and that's why we are confident that hopefully within the next few days, we would have the good news that all is well at Maxam, and then they'll start production.
You indeed indicated in your press release that you sent some relief items. I mean, are we going to see more from you? What other support are you giving to the community and the people who were involved in this accident?
I think it's important that we provide support, and I'm happy that the executive committee of the chamber readily approved, for us to provide the necessary support to the people.
Well, we now take you to the northern region where rice farmers are desperate for buyers. Thousands of bags of harvested rice during the last farming season are sitting in the warehouses as farmers reveal that rice off-takers in the region have stopped buying from them because imported rice has become way cheaper due to the benchmark value discount. Martina Bugri is our northern region correspondent. She joins us on phone on development happening there. Hello, Martina. What can you report regarding this development story?
Now, what we are being told by these groups are that with the refusal of government to back down on reversing the policies, it's made imported rice very cheap. And after taxing and everything, imported rice is about 25% cheaper than rice milled in Ghana. And so the markets have been flooded with imported rice, and people are for that one because it's cheaper compared to the price of local rice, which are processed in the country. And so they believe that if nothing is done to stop this trend, the already fragile rice industry is likely to collapse, and government's target to make Ghana self-sufficient in rice production by 2024 is likely not to be met. They also talk of job loss, not just farmers, but those in the value chain of rice production would also be out of job. And that means that a lot of families will be affected when it comes to livelihood. And so they are appealing to government to consider a reverse of these policies so that and give them an equal field with others who are in other countries, who are producing rice, so that they can also have a playing field to sell. And right now, where they can sell their rice is the school feeding program, and that is not a lucrative place because of the delays in payment. And so they believe that if nothing is done, the rice industry is heading for a collapse.
Indeed, and we could imagine the impact that this could have on the value chain of rice production in the country. Martina, we're grateful that you could help us with this update. She's a Northern Regional Correspondent there. Well, let's bring in Anthony Morrison, who is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, as well as Michael Darcom with the Rice Millers Association. I want to start off with you, Anthony Morrison. Of course, are we to expect a glut this time around from what we're hearing? Kindly unmute so we can hear you better, Anthony.
Okay. Good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, the way we have been studying the market trends, we should expect some continuous growth in the industry. But I'm afraid this glut will not be a glut that will end well, because next season we will see prices of rice rising up very steeply. I mean, astronomically, because most farmers will not do rice again. They will do soya, they will do maize, they will do sorghum, they will do millet. So that implies that our predicament will keep worsening. We have been advising government. We told government that we can follow the model of Argentina, Brazil, Thailand, where government position itself as the main seller of paddy rice in the country. So government buys all paddy in the system and sells the paddy to the feed, the rice millers, and also the market suppliers or the market forces. This is the only way we can go and strengthen our core production areas and be able to completely abandon the continuous importation that we are having currently as a country. It's a four-tier strategy, which is very simple. And this will also bring in a lot of revenue for government. But I'm afraid government has not been thinking rightly, and the government before and after and previously have not done or any initiative of this nature.
Great.
With some of these strategies being adopted, but the first government under Prime Nkrumah, we saw at some point, but we haven't seen much being done. And I think that we are also missing a lot of things here in actually positioning ourselves as a major rice production country, especially in the West Africa sub-region, where we can take a lot of advantage.
Okay, but in the short term, what contingency measures must be taken to deal with this situation up north?
Government must vote money and buy out all paddy rice in the system, and also find a way to store it properly so that we do not have any food waste in the system. Then also government will be able to release this to the feed millers, the rice millers, so that they can mill and supply the market. This is the only strategy we can do. Otherwise, I mean, from what I'm hearing from our correspondent or our contacts in the northern region, some are even threatening to burn down some of the paddy rice. So this is a situation that we should be very careful of. Government should buy all paddy rice in the system. That is the way for food security. Because if we do not have paddy rice in the system, the poultry industry is going to suffer, the beverage industry will suffer, and this will affect various other value chains within the agribusiness or the agro industry.
Indeed. Well, we shall try and raise, on Zoom as well, Mr. Darko here is with the Rice Millers Association. But in the meantime, Anthony, local rice production up north has a challenge of a ready market. How can the Ministry of Agriculture address this head on? You've talked about government having to buy all the paddy rice, but is this commercially viable?
This is what Thailand has done. And Thailand racks in more than hundreds of billions of dollars annually, supplying the whole world with rice. And if Thailand has been able to do this, I think that Ghana, using Volta region as a pivot, we can do more than that. We need to increase our farmers, their skills capacity. Now also bring in machinery, because if you are doing seeding or you are doing planting, you will need to reduce the planting distance and populate more seedlings, and make sure that what you are doing, we are able to turn around and be able to produce more than 7 metric tons per hectare or more competitive, because our agronomical problems are quite high. The agriculture census was clear that over 70% of our farmers still use rudimentary technology. And the World Bank report was very clear as well, that African farmers will make $1 trillion if we use high-tech skills and also adopt irrigation and technology. So, I mean, we know the answers to this. It's all about being innovative and think outside the box. We need to, government have a business, doing business by protecting the food security of this country. And if by setting themselves up, like the way they've done for the buffer stock, we need another company that can come in, whether the Ghana Grains Council or the Ghana Rice Company, that will buy all rights in the system, all paddy rights.
Okay.
And actually, you see, this is a strategy. Let me tell you. What government needs to do is to identify the rice growing regions in the country, register all rice farmers, and look at the number of lands that are currently under production. Then they will ask all importers and rice millers to now request the quantity of rice paddy they need annually. The government will vote money to these farmers, and the farmers will supply government with this paddy, and government will sell the paddy to these rice millers and also the importers. This is the only strategy, and I'm telling you the fact. When we adopt this, we are going to see the finest of local rice that can be produced from most of these factories. And I'm telling you, Ghana has the capacity to feed itself from rice, and this domineering of always importing is just a lazy political approach. We are not thinking as a country. And it's sad we are in this situation now. We have a lot of rice and it's going waste, and nobody seems to care about what the farmer will eat tomorrow, because this is their daily bread. They don't have anything coming anywhere. Okay? It's a very sad situation. I had several calls yesterday night and this morning. Some looking for money to go to hospital and several other things. It's so disheartening.
Anthony, we appreciate your assertion, especially when you're calling for literally a Nigerian model to Ghana's rice crisis. We're grateful, Anthony Morrison of the Chamber of Agribusiness. Let's now bring in Michael Darko. He is the president of the Rice Millers Association. You have cited the benchmark value as the critical situation hampering local production of rice as we speak. Justify for us the extent to which this remains a threat to rice production in Ghana currently, because we do know that there is currently, a stakeholder engagement, broader consultation between stakeholders and government on this matter.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. I think the issue of the benchmark value discount reversal and implementation by government, we've made our case very, very clearly. As long as imported rice lands in Ghana and is cheaper than the locally produced rice in Ghana, we all know that price is a big determinant in the consumer decisions of Ghanaians. The Bank of Ghana has come out with recent research that says that 40% of the average Ghanaian's income is spent on food. Food security is a national security issue. As my colleague who spoke before me said, we have rice millers who are prepared to go out and buy most of the available paddy rice. But there's no sense in making this decision, and I'm an investment banker by trade. There's no sense in me going out to buy all the paddy rice when after producing it, I am not going to be able to sell at a competitive price because the government is not making the bold decision to implement this benchmark value reversal, which would then allow Ghana-based rice millers to be able to spend their money in buying paddy to produce Ghanaian rice for the Ghanaian consumer and for us to be able to industrialize this nation.
Well, so, let's talk about, short-term, if not medium-term measures. I believe that you may have contacted some of the rice farmers up north. What particular contingency measures, in your point of view, must be taken to avert, a crisis of a glut?
We had a stakeholders meeting yesterday at the Ministry of Agri. I think the first thing that we are asking government to do is to implement the benchmark value discount between now and the end of the month, January 2022. The second thing is that once we're able to do that, most of the rice millers are prepared to go and pick up some of this available rice so that the rice farmers in Ghana can have some relief and have some money in their pockets.
Mike Darko, we're grateful that you could join us. We shall keep an eye on this developing story, especially when it has everything to do with Ghana's food security. But away from that, government will finalize documentation on all railway lines in the western region for potential contractors before the end of this year. This assurance from the Minister of Railway Development, John Peter Amewu, follows a call for the improvement in railway services for the transportation of explosive materials for mining firms in the area. Commenting on the development, Peter Amewu told Joy Business that the President is committed to awarding the contract before the end of the year. We have more in this report.
Swearing in a 10-member board for the Ghana Railway Company Limited in Accra, Minister for Railways John Peter Amewu said this has become necessary due to the recent rate of road accidents recorded in the area, including the recent explosion on the Begos Road. He also charged the board to support various programs by the company aimed at making railway transportation easily available in the country.
The whole of the Western Line, by the close of this year, the whole of the Western Line will be under contract, which means that we can transport, both freight and passengers right down from Takrady to Nyinahini, and along that section, where the mining activities are more, witnessed. So you are right. If the railway is in place, some of these explosives can equally be transported by the railway line. And His Excellency is determined, that we speed up the construction of the rail line as quickly as possible. And you can see it yourself. The expenditure that in terms of quantum of monies that we've put into the infrastructure during the first term of His Excellency is unprecedented.
Chairman of the board, Daniel Kwame Ajugle, accepted the challenge and promised to improve the efficiency of the company.
By these, the company will be able to achieve its objective of providing safe, comfortable, and reliable rail transport services at competitive rates for profit. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome members of the board to the challenging responsibility to help revamp Ghana's railway industry. I am optimistic that considering the diverse background of members, we are undoubtedly equal to the task, and with collectiveness of purpose, we shall deliver on our mandate to the admiration of all.
The minister therefore disclosed to the media that government is focusing more attention to the sector due to its enormous benefits.
As part of measures to deepen financial inclusion, Alliance Life Insurance Ghana Limited, in partnership with Ghana's leading mobile financial services provider, Mobile Money Limited, have launched a life insurance product named Alliance for Life. The ceremony saw the CEOs of both companies and the brand ambassador leading the launch of the product. We have more in this report.
Alliance for Life is a life insurance product which provides customers with cover for hospitalization, disability and death with as low as 3 cedis to a maximum premium of 22 cedis. This guarantees sum assured amounts from 1,000 cedis to 10,000 cedis in the event of death and a hospitalization benefit ranging from 10 cedis to 100 cedis per night. Jane Kitome is the Chief Retail and Marketing Officer of Alliance Life.
This is a product which we term as a micro insurance product, and what that means is that it is so affordable, so no matter the income bracket you belong to, you can buy the product with as little as 3 Ghana cedis a month, and you have a cover. So you have insurance cover. These days, insurance is not for the wealthy. Insurance is not for those who have so much money. Anyone at all can buy Alliance for Life. It is so affordable. It's a flexible policy. We give you a grace period. Even if you do not pay premiums for some time, we give you 3 months to come back and then continue paying paying for the policy.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of Mobile Money Limited, Eli Hene, said the partnership is part of moves to leverage digital platforms to drive technology in the country.
The partnership with Alliance is to deliver the same solutions to insurance services so we can reach our customers in a more efficient way. So we saw that opportunity in this partnership, and we came along to be able to deliver insurance products to Ghanaians. I'm sure we all know that insurance penetration is still very low and mobile penetration is very high. So if you leverage the advantage of mobile penetration to drive a product like insurance, you would be using that advantage to speed up uptake of insurance in Ghana.
Well, that'll be all for the Marketplace. I'm Charles Ayete. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. For me and the rest of the production team, many thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.